All right, so we have a test this week. We're closing this unit. So we're going to review questions 42 through 49, basically the whole packet, the whole unit. Be ready for the test. I know in your notes, you printed to just one page. So here I have it as 2 pages, but let's take a look. First thing is write the name of each polygon. I know I gave you guys a list. So the way we did this, let me count the sides, how many sides this polygon has. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Let me write n is equal to 7. It has 7 sides. I gave you guys a list, so go back on your notes. Remember, we actually started that. That was question number 1 in our notes, so make sure you guys have that. 7 sides, a figure that has 7 sides, we call this heptagon. It's based on the sides. Then we started looking at area, looking at question number 43. A triangle. A triangle, always look for the 90-degree angle. There's a corner. Sometimes it's inside the triangle, sometimes it's outside of the triangle, sometimes at the corner. The two numbers that make that angle are, in this case, 7.5 and 11. Those are the two numbers that I'm interested in. I'm not looking at every single number. I'm looking at the two numbers that make the 90-degree corner. Let me multiply this, 7.5 times 11. Now, if it was a rectangle, that's it, 7.5 times 11. Because it's a triangle, whatever I get, I'm going to divide this by 2. A triangle is half of a rectangle. So 7.5 times 11 is just a rectangle. Because it's a triangle, I have to divide by 2. So my answer here, I have 41.25. Now, one thing, be careful, read the instructions. If the instructions said find the area of each, let me just write that down. Find the area, that's it. My answer is 41.25. Now, if my answer said to round to the nearest 10th, my answer would be 41.3. So if it says to round, just one decimal place. If it doesn't say to round, don't round it. In my case, it doesn't say to round it. Look at the directions. 41.25. So be careful. Now, question number 44. It's a rectangle. I'm going to look at a 90-degree corner. I'm going to pick this one, just to pick one. That corner is made by 7 and 7, right? A squared is a rectangle. I have to multiply those two numbers, 7 times 7. And my answer is 49. Let me emphasize a little. 43, we multiply the numbers and divide it by 2. In question 44, we just multiply the numbers. For rectangles, we don't divide. For triangles, we do divide. Right? Triangles are half of a rectangle. That's why we divide by 2. All right, moving along, let's take a look at question number 45. Find the area of each regular polygon. Round your answer to the nearest 10. So now this one says to round it. So if I have a decimal, 1 decimal place. Okay, so let's take a look. In my polygons, I have to look for a triangle. I'm looking for a triangle that has the 90-degree symbol. And I know each measurement outside of my polygon is 18.5. So if I was just looking at that triangle, I will say 16 times 18.5 divided by 2. That is just that one triangle. Now, for me to find the whole polygon, let me multiply this by 6. There are 6 sides. If you look at the polygon to begin with, it had 6 sides. That's why I multiply by 6. If the polygon had, I don't know, 20 sides, multiply your triangle times 20. All right, so in this case, 16 times 18.5 divided by 2 times 6. My calculator gives me 800 and 88. Looking at number 46. My 46 is right here. Find the surface area. Round your answer to the nearest tenth if necessary. So if there's a decimal, round it to 1 decimal place. All right, so what I'm looking for, trying to find if there's a shape that is not a rectangle. Because if I can find a shape that is not a rectangle, that's the base. Sometimes I cannot because the base is still a rectangle. So I'm gonna go here. So I know for prisms, when I covered this a couple of days ago, I said volume is the area of the base times the height. So the base in this case is a rectangle. It's a 2 times 1, right? It's a 2 by 1 rectangle. The height is a number that has nothing to do with the base, in this case 2. So I'm gonna go 2 times 1 times 2. My result in this case is 4. Looking at number 47. I see a shape that is not a rectangle. So I know that's the base. So I'm looking for shapes that are not rectangles. If I cannot find them, I guess the base is also a rectangle. But here I was able to find it. It's a pentagon, right? It has 5 sides. Now I'm looking for this shape. I'm looking for triangles. I know each measurement outside is 10. Each measurement outside is 10. So for that triangle, I will go 10 times 6.9 divided by 2. Just for the triangle, 10 times 6.9 divided by 2. My result, I'm going to multiply this by 5 because the base has 5 sides. All of that is just the base. Remember, volume is the area of the base times the height. The height in this case is 6, the number that has nothing to do with the base. So I'm going to go 10 times 6.9 divided by 2 times 5 times 6. My result is 1,035. If I had decimals, rounded to 1 decimal place. Oh, did not read the instructions. Okay, let me erase this real quick. I did volume. We are reviewing surface area. Okay, I guess you guys have practice for volume. Now, surface area. Surface area. Gotta read the instructions. Now, I remember I said, this is where we started talking about surface area. We have 2 bases. And I remember I said, look at your room, the room where you're in. There's 2 bases, one on top and one at the bottom. Now, the bases don't have to be on top and the bottom because the shape can be laying down. All right, a base is what you stand on. In your case, your feet. But when you lay down, your base is not at the bottom. So the figures can be laying down. So here, there's 2 bases. In this case, let me do 2 rectangles. I remember I said, look at the ceiling and the floor, right? Those are the 2 bases. And then there's some walls around it, some rectangles. Because the base has 4 sides, we're gonna do 4 rectangles. If my base had, I don't know, 30 sides, I'm gonna be that crazy. But if it did, if the base had 30 sides for surface area, 30 rectangles at the side. All right, the base, we said, is a 2 by 1 rectangle. Let me just say the base, each of them is 2, right? 2 times 1. For the rectangles, I need to know the measurements, the 4 measurements of my base. In this case, 2, 1, 2, 1. I'm going to multiply each of them by the height, the number that has nothing to do with the base. So in this case, 2. When I go 2 times each side, so I have 4, 2, 4, 2. Right? 2 times 2, 2 times 1, 2 times 2, 2 times 1. Now, again, surface area, just add everything. I get 16. Looking at 47, the base is a hexagon. a pentagon. So 5 sides. Now you don't have to draw it that great. Just draw what it means, a pentagon. And remember, for a pentagon, we just did this a few minutes ago. We're looking for a triangle. Each measurement outside is 10. I'm looking at that triangle. 10 times 6.9 divided by 2. And in this case, whatever I get for the triangle, I'm going to multiply this by 5. So 10 times 6.9 divided by 2 times 5. And I get 172.5. So each of my bases 172.5. Because my base has 5 sides, 5 rectangles in the center, 5 walls. Now, interesting part is that each of my sides is 10. The number that has nothing to do with the base is 6. 6 times 10 is 60 all the way. So let me add everything. I have 65 times plus the 2 bases. And I get 645. If you get a decimal, you might get a decimal sometimes, rounded to 1 decimal place. Now I will move to volume. Questions 48, 49. We just reviewed that, but volume is the area of the base times the height. Okay, so volume. So looking at the base, in this case, is a pentagon. For pentagons, I'm looking for triangles. Each measurement outside is 12. So for the base, or at least for the triangle, I will go 12 times 8.3 divided by 2. The triangle. Whatever I get for the triangle, I'm going to multiply this by 5. That will give me the whole base. Right? There's 5 sides, so that's why I multiply by 5. The height in this case, it's 6. So I'm just going to go 12 times 8.3 divided by 2 times 5 times 6. And I get 1,494. If you have a decimal, round it to 1 decimal place. Question number 49. The base, I see it here. I'm going to say each measurement outside is 8. And I'm just looking for a triangle. For that triangle, I'm going to go 8 times 5.5 divided by 2. And whatever I get, I'm going to multiply this by 5. All of this is the base. The height of my prism here is 12. So let me go 8 times 5.5 divided by 2 times 5 times 12. And my answer here, I get 1,320. Little emphasis, 46, 47, we're looking at surface area. Surface area, you have 2 bases and a bunch of rectangles. Volume, questions 48, 49, area of the base times the height.